everyone. Let's take a look at entities through the lens of AI. More specifically, we're looking at ChatGPT in Bard compared to the on-page AI tool to see what the difference is between the three. Now, I get a ton of questions about, can I use AI tools instead of the SEO tools? So let's take a look at how they stack up together. I found a page that was ranking for Why Are Flamingos Pink? It's by the Smithsonian's National Zoo. I took this content and ran it through the on-page AI tool. Now, for the purposes of this video, what we're paying attention to are the terms here in green. These are the words that are found within the content that are entities, and this does not take into consideration the entities that are missing that are found on the competitor's content. So for the sake of this video, I'm keeping it to the words that are in green. However, realize the on-page AI tool does take entities a lot further than that. I have now taken the exact content, pasted it into here, and asked it to identify all of the entities within the content. And it did identify about 56 entities. I have ran the same request several times today, and I have gotten a variety of different answers. For instance, this morning when I asked it the exact same question, it pinpointed only 18 entities, but told me there were probably more. I asked it to keep going or to give me the entire list, and then it gave me a second list of 47 to add on to the first list. The reason I'm pointing this out is because when you're working with AI, sometimes it gives you truncated answers or answers that are not fully answered, and you have to keep asking it to get the full response. If you're not aware of that, you might take the first answer as being the whole entire answer to your question, when really it's just a small portion. So you need to ask the question sometimes several times and make sure it's not holding anything back. Sometimes when I ask it the second question, it then gives me more information that it should have given me the first time, but didn't. All right, now I have taken the on-page AI tool list, called it list 1, took the ChatGPT list that it just gave me, called it list 2, and asked it to compare the two lists. What I'm asking it to do are tell me the words that are the same within both lists and tell me the words that are unique within both lists. And it says that none of the words are common to both lists. Now, I asked the same question this morning and had a lot of trouble with this one as well. There are words that are the same on both lists, and it took me about 3 times of asking the same question before it would compare the words one to one. I just asked the same answer again, take a look at both lists again, and tell me which words are on both lists. This time it's giving me a list of about 18 to 20 words that are exactly the same on both lists. It has given me a list of which words are unique to each list. However, what I want to point out is each time I have asked this question, it has given me a different set of words. And each time I have asked to point out the entities within the article, I have gotten a different set of words, whereas with ChatGPT, some of them will remain the same, but they are switching out words as to what it considers to be entities. With the on-page AI tool, it's always pretty much the same. It doesn't switch out words. Whereas with the on-page AI tool, I just have to ask it one time. I do not have to keep prompting it or asking it. And I'm pretty certain with the responses that it has given me. With ChatGPT, as I ask the questions throughout the day, different times, I am given different answers. I've now asked it a follow-up question, which are the unique words from the two lists that I gave you, because some of them are not. It then says that it apologizes for the confusion and that the list of unique words earlier were not accurate. So let's correct this. It gives me a list of unique words for list 1, which was on page AI, and then list 2, which is from ChatGPT. Now, remember, both lists did have about 18 to 20 words, I roughly counted, that were the same, but they also have about 18 to 20 words that are different from each list. Remember, each tool pulls entities in a different way. It depends on how they're pulling entities, how they're filtering entities, if they're using natural language processing. So for ChatGPT, I did ask it earlier in the day if it was using NLP, and it said yes, which is different from the on-page AI tool. All right, during this very long day of making this video that I thought would be super easy to make and interesting, you continue to get different entity answers from ChatGPT. I have asked the question 4 or 5 times throughout the day, and each time I have been given a different response. I'm either given a truncated list, then it gives me the full list, or it gives me the full list, and when I ask it to look again, it happens to find some more. It just kind of keeps going. I am not confident in any of the answers at this point that ChatGPT has given me. I then moved over to Bard to ask the same questions. What are entities, and how are you finding entities within the content? It gave me a very similar answer that ChatGPT gave me for using NLP, NAR, and SRL. I then gave it the content and asked it to find all of the entities. It did give me a list of what it felt was entities within the content, and the list was similar to the ChatGPT list. I then tried to prompt it to get it to tell me what was the same from the Bard list to the ChatGPT list, and I just keep getting an error within Bard saying that it can't do that right now, that it is just an experiment and not to expect much. All right, I then prompted the same question again to see if it would give me the same answers or different answers, and again, it gave me more than what it gave me the first time, which is exactly what ChatGPT did. It gave me answers, it looked again, and then said, oh yeah, I also found 20 other entities, or however many it was. Now with Bard, I didn't get to try it out several times throughout the day because I continued to get an error. Now the two lists between Bard and ChatGPT had a large amount of words that were the same, but they did also have entities that were unique to each platform. I have given up trying to get AI to count the unique words for me because it has given me several answers at this point, and I'm tired of checking over the work. So bottom line, all of the tools give us different answers because they're pulling information differently. What I learned from this little rabbit hole experiment was that I'm not confident in the answers that AI gave me at all when it's looking at entities, not only because of the method that they're using to pull the entities, but because it also changes its answer and sometimes just flat out lies. I don't even know how else to describe it. It literally gives you words. I didn't recognize them, so I wanted to clarify. Those are the words from the list. And it was like, no, I made a mistake. These are the real words from your list. So I'm not confident in the responses at this point. I know if I asked it again, it would give me probably a different answer. And at this point, I would pay for an SEO tool, whichever one you want to pay for and love, over having to use AI to find entities. It was a hair-pulling experience. So I hope this answers your question. Can you use AI for entities? If there's something else you'd like me to try with AI, let me know below.